The Mohawk Trail, Massachusetts in the eastern United States. This was the first and once the favorite scenic route in the country. Today, only a few visitors make their way to this back road. Beyond the beauty of its scenery, the trail has a long history. Native Americans used it as a footpath for trade and travel long before the arrival of the first European settlers. With the arrival of the Mayflower in 1620, the trail changed forever. At first, the Native Americans and the Pilgrims got along together, but the newcomers soon began heading west on the old footpaths, which eventually turned into a paved highway. The old road from Boston to the Great Lakes and all the towns along the way tell a story. Starting with the little town of Berlin.
Berlin, to me, is like an island of sanity and self-control in a rising tide of insanity as you look around us. When I was a boy, it was like being in heaven. It was the ideal Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn boyhood. My name's Walter Bickford, and I live in the town of Berlin in Massachusetts. I'm a New Englander. My ancestors were the Fullers that came over on the Mayflower.
The New Englanders fought against their British colonial rulers for 8 years. These first Americans were called Yankees.
There's a lot of Yankee people here mostly.
Right, yeah. There are quite a few Polish families in town.
There are a few black families.
It's not going to
What is special about Berlin to me, and it's part of my philosophy, it's a town of probity and worth, of basicness, of legitimacy, of substance, not frivolous.
First name is Willard. They call me Bill mostly. And my last name is Wheeler.
And I'm Timothy Wheeler.
I'm James Wheeler.
And we all live in Berlin.
The farm, it belonged to my great-grandfather. Now, actually, I'm the grandfather.
Well, we're farmers. There's been generations of farmers. So James is the 7th generation of this family to live on this farm and produce.
The farms in New England are small and cannot survive solely on what they produce. They now have to find income from other sources, such as agri-entertainment.
Playing what?
Agri-entertainment? Do you want to take it?
No, I don't do the entertainment. Tim does the entertainment.
I think he knows and recognizes the fact that a lot of those people come here and pay to pick because it's fun and it's entertaining for them and it's something that the family can do together.
I'm still sort of trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I have a degree in history, so.
Like everything else, as far as the farm is concerned, it's just not going to go on forever.
This is a beautiful church, isn't it? What could we do with that building? How could we use it? And so we thought about sort of a coffee shop kind of feel. I'm Evie Dewick, and I live in Berlin, Massachusetts. I've lived in Berlin since 1994. I had a great 10 years of performing all over New England as a classical musician. And then we moved out here when my first child was born. We bought that church in January of 2011. And since then, we've been swarming with people wanting to help. I feel fortunate or lucky that they let me into their community. I think everybody has to find a spot in their life where they can flourish, you know, bloom where you're planted or move.
Further west, the forest becomes denser. Here, somewhat unexpectedly, we come across a peace pagoda and its Buddhist followers.
My name is Katja. I'm a nun here at the New England Peace Pagoda.
My name is Gyowei Kato, Buddhist monk residing in this Peace Pagoda.
To open their eyes to the Buddha knowledge.
I would say New England in general, generally speaking, has an energy of, letting people be, but kind of skeptical.
Some of the most important American universities are in New England. In the 1960s, young intellectuals started searching for a simpler life, closer to nature. They settled in the little town of Wendell, where property was inexpensive.
Patty Scutari, and I live in Wendell, Massachusetts.
This is Patty's store. It's the commercial center of Wendell. I would say the post office, the pub. I'm Lisa Winter, and I live in Wendell also.
When I moved here 18 years ago, there were many people living in teepees, without electricity, without running water, and I was absolutely astonished by it, just coming from the suburbs of New York.
We're from Long Island.
We are from Long Island. We're two Long Island girls that wound up here for some reason. I'd be in the store and I'd have like a 70-year-old farmer whose families had been here forever, and he'd be talking to two lesbians about, what crops they were going to grow. And it was like, and I thought, this is amazing. Like they kind of bridged their differences, and I just thought this was the most amazing community I had ever come across. Charlie has been the postmaster since I've been here for 18 years. I had friends from Long Island. They wouldn't buy stamps until they came up to visit us because they loved to come and buy stamps from Charlie.
Hi, come on over.
I could hang a flyer on your...
Oh, yes. Yeah, sure. Small world. We'll take good care of it. Come on in, Bill. Larry, how are you? I will give you a free envelope. My name is Charlie O'Dowd. I am the postmaster of Wendell, Massachusetts. The Postal Service of the United States has as its emblem the proud eagle. Here in Wendell, they've chosen another bird, and it's the stork. And some say that it looks a lot like the postmaster. Wow! We'll receive live shipments of chickens, turkeys, pigeons, ducks, hens, bees, for a lot of people who want to try their lifestyle of sustainability. It's just a wonderful town.
As we near the mountain, the road takes more and more twists and turns. Native Americans created this mountain trail as a footpath. Settlers widened it with their horse-drawn wagons. With the arrival of the first motor cars, the road was widened again and finally paved over, making it the first scenic route in the United States. The most famous section is the hairpin turn.
My name is John Morris, and I live here on the hairpin turn. At the time, 1914 or 1920, my mother's uncle, when him and his brother were younger, they would sell water here on the corner for the old cars because they would have to come up backwards because there was no injection for the fuel to get in the motor, so they drive up backwards so the gas would head towards the motor. And they would overheat a lot. Years later, my Uncle Don was there with another guy selling gifts, and a truck came down. And it went right through the building, and they just escaped. They escaped with their lives. Just a newspaper clipping of all the traffic 45 years ago, and as you can see, there was not even any room to park.
The highest town on the Mohawk Trail is Florida, with an elevation of 2,000 feet. No problem for today's motor cars, but earlier models often ended up in the repair shop.
My name is Stanley Brown, and I live in the town of Florida, Massachusetts. Right now, we're inside of my garage that I ran for 31 years. The Mohawk Trail came right through a section of my grandfather's farm. My father would have been 14 years old when the road was completed. This photograph was taken in 1923, and it's my father, Harold Brown, standing with his helper, Judson Goman. The car is a 1922 Buick Super 6 that my dad had. And my father could see the potential for a repair station here.
Hey, thank you very much.
Right now we're at the Whitcomb Summit, and it's the highest point on the trail. When the trail was opened up in 1914, this was the first store at the Summit House. This would have probably been about 1932, in that range there. And it says full course dinners, 65 cents. So that was quite reasonable.
For the first time in the United States, the road was created solely for leisure travel and tourism, as famous then as Route 66 is today.
I have a whole cabinet full of salt and pepper shakers, but these little chairs are from the Mohawk Trail. If we didn't have these souvenirs, we would really never understand what the Mohawk Trail was. I'm Nancy Fitzpatrick, and I collected hundreds of souvenir objects from the Mohawk Trail. It's just a road, but they were so excited about it because it was the first of, highway to be built with the automobile in mind. And, they were excited by this. I mean, really. And look at this. I mean, is he not fun? The Indian Trail route from Boston to Buffalo via Mohawk Trails. Our wonderful Indians who we learned to love too late.
We don't have a Native American population here, which is sad. What does that mean? Did we kill them? It's really sad. Let's fix it. Let's do what we can to make it right. Let's at least be respectful. I'm Eileen McCusker-Rauch from Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts. We are at the Big Indian Shop on the Mohawk Trail. We have a big Indian outdoors that is 18 feet tall, and he's been here since 1954. We know it's not a representation of a local Native American. We know that it's a Plains Indian, which is kind of silly, but he's awful big and he's awful cute and everybody loves him.
Although the vistas are still breathtaking, today the Mohawk Trail belongs to history. The abandoned cabins along the road are the last remnants of past glories. On the other side of the mountain, the trail winds down to the small city of North Adams.
The original trail, we believe, at one point ran right down Main Street, North Adams. My name is Robert Campanile. I live here in North Adams, Massachusetts. This is an historic railroad depot yard, and I run the museum. I came here 11 years ago. I wanted to be a little closer to nature, wanted a little slower life. The mural behind me is, according to the best records we have, probably the earliest image that we have of North Adams.
In the early 19th century, North Adams was at the forefront of the American Industrial Revolution. The fast-running rivers in the area provided the power for mills and electricity generators.
It started as a mill town and stayed as a mill town throughout its histories until probably the late 1950s, early 60s, when everything changed here and it was no longer a mill town, and they had to find a new identity.
This entire area was once the industrial center of the United States, until manufacturing changed and jobs moved away. Today, most of these towns struggle for survival. At the border of Massachusetts and New York State, the Mohawk Trail comes to an end. Here we find the city of Amsterdam, which began to flourish as an obligatory stopping-off point for all convoys heading out west. Today, the chimneys are the only reminders of that golden age.
Gary Dudka, D-U-D-K-A, Amsterdam, New York. Those cables fastened, and I also hooked up the lights to it. The lights will work. If I plug it into 110, the lights will come on. And it's also now became a monument for the Mohawk River.
We are in Amsterdam, New York. You know, people lost their jobs, and so, you know, everything closed up. Downtowns have kind of died.
With so many empty buildings, the townsfolk decided window displays would give some life back to the town. Here, you could almost be fooled into sitting down for an ice cream sundae.
Well, when I first started here, there was probably 15, 20 people working. Now it's down to like 4.
I have kids. I want to raise them and give them a better life, and hopefully they can move outside of Amsterdam. Basically, there's nothing here.
Only 15 minutes from here, the farmland is so rich it was once known as the breadbasket of the United States. This is the Mohawk Valley, which was home to the Mohawks before they were cleared off the land and dumped in a reservation in Canada. The road takes us to the small town of Fonda.
In 18 years ago, I came back here to the Mohawk Valley where one of the principal Bear Clan Mohawk villages stood. It was the village of my great-great-great-grandmother. My name is Sago Gwanyugwas. That's my Mohawk given name, Sartam Porter in English. I belong to the Bear Clan. And we bought this land back, and our elders were very angry that we had to buy our own land. But in order to avoid trouble, we did buy the land. And we've been having cultural, traditional teachings and language teachings here ever since, and it's become a spiritual place for the Mohawk. Because this valley is the original homeland of the Mohawk people for thousands and thousands of years before the European came here. That was the original trail, and it goes all the way to Buffalo. Yeah, the original. It goes right by my house here, the original trail. That's what this thruway is. They just followed that. These are not Mohawks. I'm not here. None of these are. All American, making big money using Indian history and stuff. It's like a rattlesnake that shed its skin. You see the snake, but there's no life and there's nothing in there. There is no spirit in there. As a timber rattler. But he's 100 years old. He was stuffed 100 years ago. But he's my pet.
This county, from our little cities of North Adams to our idyllic small towns, just represents really the true America.
If I could do it, I'd tear up all the roads, put in dirt roads, okay, and go back to the old days.
You can roam where fancy leads you, over hill and over dale, but you haven't seen America till you've seen the Mohawk Trail. I mean, really. How great is that?